Good morning, YouTubers. T Square here with T Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I want to talk about gold and silver and how you could see an astronomically high price of silver and gold, but not in the way that a lot of people think. I think people misunderstand when some of these people put huge numbers out there, how exactly it could reach that high. I recently seen a video where people were talking $100,000 gold and I think it was like $5,000, $7,000 silver, and it really makes me think that when people promise you these things, a lot of people, they read into that. They instantly believe it, and then they instantly think it's going to happen tomorrow. And could it happen tomorrow? Yeah, I mean, obviously something devastating could happen tomorrow that would just make the dollar essentially worthless. But at the end of the day, everything is going to be up in price. Everything. And it would probably put everything in disarray if something like that happened too quick. However, I do believe that gold and silver is going to keep going up gradually, and it's going to happen in a way that people just overlook it because it happens slow. It's like that gradual change. That person that you haven't seen in maybe 10 years, and maybe they were 400 pounds back then, and then you see them and you're like, wow, what do you weigh? You know, you're just mind blown because you haven't seen them. But to the people that see that person every day losing a little weight, they overlook it almost. You know, yeah, you realize, yeah, they're toning up or they're getting in shape, but I kind of think we're going to see something like that with gold. People will gradually overlook it. I mean, and that's why you see a lot of people overlook the price of gold and silver right now. I mean, when I talk to people, I've had people tell me, man, silver really hasn't done nothing. You've been talking about silver now for 8 years and it hasn't done nothing. You know, when I started talking about silver, I mean, silver was essentially 15 bucks at its low point. And here we are now at almost $35. And you can't pick it up for $35. And each day that goes by, the silver supply gets even more strapped. You know, we had more silver supply available back when I started talking about this, and it was $15 an ounce. Now we have less supply available, and it's $35 an ounce pretty much. Now, a lot of people are just going to miss the boat, and a lot of people, though, are going to get sour on how come it ain't going up fast enough. You know, and I feel bad for those people because they're really truly going to miss something. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about that and how we could see a huge jump, but not necessarily in the way that you think. So before we get started on the talk, I'm going to recap the prices. I'm going to thank everybody for watching, commenting. If you would hit that thumbs up button, help me out. Be sure and check out some of these other great videos. If you just scroll through the videos, one of them is going to catch your eye, and a lot of good information in all of them. So moving on real quick, let's just check what is silver doing right now. So we got silver as of right this minute trading at $34.43. It's showing pretty well flat right now. However, you know, this is going to be an interesting month, but lately every month has been interesting. But the reason it's most interesting to me right now, and I'll probably find something more interesting next month, but as of right now, the reason it's so interesting is when you look at what should be happening in the summer. I know someone might comment we're not technically in the summer yet, but let's be honest. A lot of schools have already closed. A lot of people have already started their summer vacations, and essentially we're not seeing silver get beat down like we should. And I think that's a good sign. I do think there is going to be a beatdown coming at the end of this month, but because it's the end of the second financial quarter. Moving on real quick, we got gold trading at $33.50, which really is only $150 off of its highs. That can be achieved really quick. A lot of people think that, oh, that's so far away. It's such a devastating pullback. It's not. That can be achieved really fast. We've seen $100 days, multiple days in a row. So once something happens, that's it. And I should have mentioned here that we're only 60 cents, maybe 50 cents away from its 11-year high. Man, actually it's 11 and a half years now. And I think a lot of people are just missing what's actually going on. Moving on real quick, I have to give note to Bitcoin. Bitcoin doing a great job holding its ground above 100K, sitting at $105,000, up about $96, but I'm going to call that pretty flat in the terms of $96 when you invest $105,000. It's a pretty small gain for the day. Taking a quick look at the DXY, it did move up just a little bit today as we are sitting at 99.33. I expect to see this strengthen as the Fed meeting comes due here in a couple weeks because they need the dollar to look strong, and that way, they can justify whatever they're going to say at that meeting. And I think they want it to look good during these meetings, and usually we'll see silver and gold come down to a little bit of a lower level. So I'm really excited to see how that will play out, especially with the end of the second financial quarter coming. Taking a quick look at the debt, we are sitting right now at 36,934,000,000,000. As that is climbing. Still, I'm kind of excited to see us break that 37. I won't be talking about this as much once we hit that $37 trillion. Just a quick mention on the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, because there are a lot of people that invest in that. The Dow Jones right now trading at 42,519, up 214. A lot of confidence kind of getting put back into the markets like everything bad has blown over, and it hasn't. I really don't believe it has. None of the problems that we have been dealing with have been taken care of. It's just kicking the can down the road a little bit, and now we even have more turmoil between, I'm going to say, allies. We've got Trump and Elon kind of going back and forth right now over that big beautiful bill that I've been reading a lot of the different reasons. Personally, I think Elon just wants to see the debt. Essentially, he owns the majority. Well, he is a very rich person. Let me put it that way. And once you're that rich, you don't want to see a game come to an end when you're sitting on top. How many of y'all ever play Monopoly? And all of a sudden, you're in the key spot, you're winning, it looks like you're going to be the winner, and then all of a sudden, everybody's like, let's go do something else. This is getting old. No, I'm winning. I don't want to stop now. I want to stop after I've won. And, okay, we forfeit to you. Well, that's not really the same thing. And that's kind of how I feel Elon is in that position right now. He doesn't want to see the country, the dollar collapse. I think he recognizes the trouble that we are in with the debt. And it's going to be interesting to see how some of that plays out. And I was reading an article today explaining 4 big reasons why he was unhappy with it. And some of those reasons could have been the truth. I'm not going to lie. I don't know exactly. I haven't read into the exact contents of the big beautiful bill yet. However, at some point I will read through it. But I haven't yet. And that's going to be interesting to see how this plays out between these two in the future. Moving on, take a quick look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ trading at 19,398, up about 150 points, or a little under 1%, sitting at 0.81% higher. Taking a look at the S&P, which is a lot of people's retirement plans tied up here, sitting at 5,970, up about 0.5% or about $35 share. And that's going to wrap up that. Now, what I want to talk a little bit about with gold and silver is if something major was to happen, could the gold price of gold and silver skyrocket? So the first thing I want to talk about is a video that I did a little while back about what happened in Mexico to the Mexican peso when they shifted to the nuevo peso, which was the new peso for Mexico, and they shifted 3 zeros. So essentially, if you had $1,000, you essentially had $1. Now, I say dollars. I shouldn't probably say dollars. I should say if you had 1,000 pesos, you essentially had 1 peso. And a lot of people don't know about this, and a lot of people don't even talk about this because they don't think it could ever happen here in the United States. The truth of the matter is the debt here in the United States has gotten out of control. not just in my personal opinion, but in a lot of people's opinions. And how are they going to get this in control? Well, here's the thing. If the bond market continues to show signs of stress, starts to crack, starts to break down, people don't want to buy our bonds anymore, then something will have to be done. Now, here's the thing. If all of a sudden we were to do something like that here in the US, let's, for easy math, just say that we shaved 10 off of our money. If all of a sudden you're sitting on $1,000 in your bank account now has $100. Now, you're going to get paid in new dollars, the newer dollars. So some people would be like, okay, is that really a big deal? Well, it is a big deal if you have money already. If you have a savings account, it's a big deal because you get wiped out instantly. And if you're working and all of a sudden you're making the same amount of money, then it's not a big deal. And what this would do is it would incentivize people to keep working, to go back to work, it sucks that my savings just lost a whole zero, but we're in a better spot. That's what they're going to push on us. They're going to be like, we're in a better position now. This was for good. It's bumming that it happened. We know some people are upset about it, especially the people that have money. But how many people actually have money out there, do you think? I read an article a little while back. The average American doesn't even have $2,000 saved up for an emergency. Now, when I hear stories like this makes me think that it's highly unlikely they would devalue the currency like that. But, I mean, they would take it. There's a lot of people out there that essentially would just be devastated, especially the older people. I mean, I talked to some older people that have a nice savings account, not the younger people. And these people have essentially saved their majority of their life, and to see it all get wiped out, that would be pretty devastating. But here's what would happen. If silver is currently at, we'll say, $35, and all of a sudden they devalued the currency, now the question is, if they took off a zero, does that change the value of silver? So theoretically, the price of silver did not change. It was $35 yesterday. It's $35 today. However, if you were to buy an ounce of silver in old bills, you would essentially need $350 because you'd be using the old that has to be converted into the 10-to-1, and then to get the new dollars to buy it. So a lot of people don't understand that you protected your wealth. And let's be honest, I'm convinced the majority of silver stackers, the majority of gold stackers, the majority of the people that watch this channel are probably holding some precious metals. They have a savings account. Now, some of you have a savings account in dollars, some of you have a savings account in Bitcoin, and some of you have a savings account in gold and silver. And if you're holding it in dollars, you essentially just lost a huge percentage of your money. You take away a zero, I mean, that's devastating. You just lost 90% of your money, essentially. Now, if you were saving it in silver, you didn't really lose nothing. You're still in the same boat. But are you in the same boat? Because here's the thing. A lot of people would now have a hard time buying anything, essentially, because if you go out and buy something, you realize, hey, we just went through hard times. We've seen this happen. Maybe I should be saving money. Maybe I shouldn't be wasting all this money. And as a lot of people slow down on buying, that does help fight inflation. Because inflation is not just the money supply, but it's also the demand. And if more people are buying up a product, then you will experience inflation. And that's kind of what we've seen during the whole cough. Some people are like, dude, we're all big boys. You can say the word. No, we can't. I literally only gained 30 subs last month, and my views have plunged. So, nope, I'm not going to say the word. So during cough, there was literally a lot of people that, one, they had that money. They still had their money. Some of them were still getting checks from the government. Some of them were still getting money coming in. And essentially, they were going out buying. And then the manufacturing essentially ceased. I mean, less stuff was being produced. Well, that's supply and demand. As the supply drops, the demand was still there. So obviously the price went up. And that's why we were experiencing a lot of stuff running out. When everything runs out, if you have a store and stuff keeps running out every day, well, then what are you going to do? You're going to raise the price on it. That way you don't keep running out. Some people might keep it the same, but a lot of people would be like, hey, I'm just going to up the price and see if it keeps selling, and I'll make a good profit. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I was actually just watching a clip from Shark Tank the other day, and it was a farmer, I guess, or a guy that made a product to sell to farmers, and he didn't want to sell it for some astronomical price. He said, no, I'm fine making $1 an item. And the majority of the sharks had the attitude, you might be fine with that, but it ain't worth our time. You want us on board, you got to charge a lot more for the product. And he's like, but you realize we're selling to farmers, the backbone of America. And pretty much the majority of them were like, and? And it was kind of sad because I think greed is perpetual, I guess you can say. It just spreads like a virus or like a cancer. As more people get greedy, it makes it harder on other people, and then they have to be greedy. And they have to charge more and this and that. And it makes it hard to stay fair when people are all being greedy. And I think eventually something is going to break down. And if you're buying gold and silver, I think you're taking a good step to protect your wealth. I think you're positioning yourself in the right direction. And I know there's a lot of people that feel like it's not going up fast enough. $35, is that really a big jump? Here's the thing. Take a look at it for the last year. For the last year to date, I should say. We were at $28 at the beginning of the year. $28, I'll say $29. It was $28.94 according to this chart. And yes, I understand we had a big run up and then we had a beat down, right, ironically, at the end of the last financial quarter. And I think we will probably see another beat down at the end of this financial quarter, but I don't think it will come down as low. I'm hoping we're going to see right around $30. That will keep it right above, essentially a percentage above where it was last time, because if it comes all the way down, I just don't think that's sustainable. I think that as it comes down, more people will buy. And if we're talking about it here on the channel, then I think more people will consider maybe holding out and waiting for that nice dip and not buying at these $35 range. They'll wait for that dip to come, and then hopefully when we see 32, maybe they'll be jumping in, picking up some nice orders. Maybe if we see 31, they'll be picking up some nice orders. If we see 30, then I'm going to probably be betting the farm again. Everything that I've managed to save up over the last month and a half, I'm going to be flooding in. Now, I did just get an order yesterday that came in, and I was pretty happy with that order. That order was all certified coins. And as I got the order, we're only talking like $3 over the spot price now. Why? Because we had that pullback, and then after the pullback, I put in the order. There was a little bit of a delay on it, a few different things. I happened to talk with the person that I bought it from late in the day on a Friday, and then obviously it being Friday, a holiday weekend, by the time they came back, got it all packaged, and then got it out, and then another delay in the shipping, and it's sitting in the post office has been horrible lately, I think, with delays and stuff. And then here I am getting it, and I'm like, wow, I'm not too far off from spot now. And I think a lot of people are, if they hold out a little bit until the end of this month, they're going to get some good deals. And then I think right after the month, we're going to see it start working its way back up again. Look at this beat down. Look how quick it went back up. And so back on topic, since I did kind of ramble on a little bit off topic, I want people to understand that we're not going to see necessarily a huge overnight thing. Will there be a day that we could see that? Yes. If something major happened, then you could see something crazy happen on the price. But even when they revalued the Mexican peso and shaved 3 zeros off of the peso, the gold price was pretty much the same the next day. Now, here's what did happen. A lot of people got scared and they didn't want to keep saving in pesos. They wanted to either save in US dollars because they viewed it as a safer currency, or they wanted to save in gold and silver, specifically gold. And so the gold price started climbing. And it was a slow escalation. And that's kind of what I think is going to continue to happen. It's going to be a slow escalation until something really bad does happen. And then you might see a big pop. I mean, we've seen big pops before, but overall, the price just gradually keeps going higher from one year to the next. And that's why when you look at, we'll take a look at gold since you can really see it good on gold. You take a look at the gold year to date and look at this. Boom. Take a look at a 1 year out. Look at this climb. Take a look at a 5 year. Look at this nice climb. We're seeing it. Silver, it has a nice climb too, but it's not as visual because you have this big drop right here that it gave it like all back and then jumped back up again. But even if we go a year out, you can see the climb. If we go 5 years out, you can definitely see the climb. 5 years ago, we had it at essentially $16. Can you believe that? We were buying silver 5 years ago at $16. And you don't even really have to go that far back because I remember this right here. This was after the whole cough happened, and we were buying coins at about $19 during 22 when everybody's saying, oh, here we go, it's going right back down to 18, 16, and it never did. And a lot of people right now are saying it's going to go back down to 25 to 30. We could see 30. I don't think we'll ever see 25 again. I think the days of 25 are over. And so I'm not going to panic. I'm going to, stay the course, keep stacking. I'm not looking to get rich quick overnight. That's not how this game is played. If you're buying and you're hoping to get rich quick overnight, I think you're missing the big picture. So with that being said, going to wrap up here. I thank everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you check out some of these other great videos. And a special thank you for hitting that thumbs up button, leaving me a comment. And I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. And a special thank you to the members out there. I do appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.